Real quick. Vibe check, yo. Breathe with me, Queen. Hey. Vibe check, yo. Breathe with me. Right here.
Lately you've been smiling, but you barely feel okay. Holding back a storm.
Hey, real quick, let's vibe check, y'all. Now, before we do anything, you know what we gotta do, right? That's right. Let's breathe in. Hold it. Now let it out slow. That was good. Do it again. In. Hold it. Now let it out. One more time. Make it good. In. Hold it. Now let it out slow. Yeah. Alright. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you imagined something going right? No, really. When was the last time you allowed yourself to fully believe that it could actually work? Because I've noticed something. A lot of us have become experts at preparing for disappointment. We know exactly what we'll do if things fall apart. We know how we'll survive the setback. And we know how we'll recover from the loss. But what if it works? What if the opportunity actually opens? What if the business grows? What if the relationship is healthy? What if the healing lasts? What if the thing you've been praying for actually finds you? See, some of us have spent so much time surviving that we built entire emergency plans for failure. But we don't have a plan for joy. And that takes me back. When I was a little girl, my grandma Betty would take us outside at night. Sometimes we'll just stare at the stars. Sometimes we'll dance around together under the moonlight. And we'll chant, I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. And it was just, an affirmation, and you could hear the excitement in our voices, the joy, the belief of the possibility. The one thing Grandma Betty always taught us was this: wealth isn't always money. You can be wealthy in love, wealthy in peace, wealthy in wisdom, wealthy in friendship, wealthy in freedom, wealthy in purpose. She taught us that abundance wasn't something you waited to receive. It was something you learned how to recognize. And the thing is, Grandma Betty wasn't just teaching us to say it. She was teaching us to believe it. Because anybody can repeat words. Anybody can recite an affirmation. And anybody can say, I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. But she wanted us to know it, to feel it, to believe it so deeply that it became a part of who we were. She wanted us to speak it with conviction, to say it like it already belonged to us, to say it like it was already making its way towards us, to say it with our whole hearts. And looking back, I realized she was teaching us something most people spend their entire lives trying to learn. That your words matter, but your belief matters too. Because if you speak abundance but secretly expect lack, you'll keep preparing for lack. And if you speak peace but secretly expect chaos, you'll keep looking for chaos. Because, if you speak blessings but secretly expect disappointment, guess what? You'll keep embracing for disappointment. And if I'm being completely honest with y'all, that lesson became even more important as I got older. Because most of my life, I struggled with depression. I struggled with anxiety. I struggled with the weight of trauma. And when you've lived through enough pain, it can change the way you see yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you think about your future. And I was hard on myself. Hard. I could show grace to everybody else, compassion to everybody else, understanding to everybody else, but when it came to me, I wasn't always so kind. And if we're being real, some of us have spent years speaking to ourselves in ways we'll never speak to someone we love. The criticism, the doubt, the guilt, the shame, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we deserve. And somewhere along the way, I realized something. I couldn't control everything that happened to me, but I could control what happened within me. And I could choose to either allow my experiences to make me bitter, or I could allow them to make me better. I could allow my pain to close my heart, or I could transform that pain into purpose. And that's exactly what I chose to do. I started practicing self-love. Not the trendy kind, the real kind. The kind where you forgive yourself for everything. The kind where you stop bullying yourself. The kind where you become a safe place for your own spirit. And I made a decision. If I was capable of spending years feeding myself negative thoughts, then surely I was capable of spending the rest of my life feeding myself better ones. If I could rehearse fear, I could rehearse faith. If I could practice self-doubt, I could practice self-love. If I could keep reliving my pain, I could also start envisioning my healing. And that's when everything started changing. Not overnight, not magically, but intentionally. Little by little, I started raising my frequency, protecting my peace, looking for reasons to be grateful instead of reasons to give up. And don't get me wrong, I still have hard days. I still have moments where life feels heavy. I still have moments where I need to pause and regroup. But even on those days, I look for the good. I look for the lesson. I look for the blessing hidden inside the challenge. Because I've learned something powerful. What you consistently focus on, you strengthen. And I spent enough years strengthening my wounds. Now I'm strengthening my joy. I spent enough years feeding my fears. Now I'm feeding my faith. I spent enough years surviving. So now I'm learning how to live. And maybe that's why this vibe check matters so much to me. Because I don't want to keep going backwards. I don't want to keep repeating cycles of dysfunction. And I don't want to keep operating from versions of myself that were built inside survival, fear, and pain. No. I want joy now. Real joy. The kind where your nervous system finally relaxes. Please. The kind where peace doesn't feel temporary. The kind where happiness isn't something you're waiting on. It's something you're living. So maybe the question isn't, what are you saying? Maybe the question is, what are you believing? Do you actually believe things can get better? Do you actually believe you're worthy of joy? Do you actually believe life can surprise you in beautiful ways? Because you imagine the worst 1,000 times. Have you ever imagined the best? Have you ever imagined the breakthrough? Have you ever imagined the blessing? And have you ever imagined yourself waking up in a life that feels aligned? Because maybe, just maybe, the next chapter of your life isn't asking you to survive. It's asking you to believe. And maybe that's what Grandma Betty was really teaching us under that moonlight all those years ago. Not just how to affirm, how to believe. Trust your energy. Trust the process. Trust the possibilities. And give yourself permission to imagine a future that's bigger than your fears. Alright? Alright, Shug. That's your vibe check. And I'm Rose Anu. Catch me every Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. on the UnTapped Show. Right here on KAZI 88.7 FM. And if this message spoke to you, and if it hit somewhere deeper than you expected, come tap in with me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The New Vibe Experience. Pull up, stay connected, and hey, you know what else?